The sun beat down on the tarmac of a bustling private airport. The sleek, polished jets gleamed in the afternoon light, exuding an air of exclusivity. Among the crowd of suited professionals and wealthy clients, a man in muddy boots and a weathered flannel shirt stood out like a sore thumb. His calloused hands clutched a crumpled flyer advertising a high-performance private jet. "Can I help you?" asked a young, sharply dressed salesman, his tone laced with thinly veiled disdain. The farmer nodded, his gaze steady but humble. "I'm interested in buying that jet," he said, pointing to a state-of-the-art model parked nearby. The salesman smirked, crossing his arms. "Sir, perhaps you prefer something more practical, like a used pickup truck." A murmur of laughter rippled through the showroom staff as the farmer's cheeks flushed. But he didn't back down. "I'm serious. I'd like to see the jet's features." The salesman rolled his eyes, reluctant to waste his time. What he didn't know was that this encounter would change everything, for the farmer, the salesman, and everyone who witnessed the unfolding drama. Thomas Reed was no ordinary farmer. Born and raised on a sprawling piece of land that had been in his family for generations, he'd worked tirelessly to transform the struggling farm into a multimillion-dollar agribusiness. His days began before dawn and ended long after the sun had set, each hour filled with hard labor, strategic planning, and innovative ideas. Despite his success, Thomas remained grounded. He dressed the same way he always had, in clothes that were practical for work, not for making impressions. His old truck bore the scars of years of hauling produce and equipment, but it ran just fine. What set Thomas apart was his dream of expanding his business globally. He'd spent years researching, saving, and planning. His goal was to purchase a private jet to streamline operations, enabling him to meet international clients and transport goods efficiently. But appearances can be deceiving, and Thomas knew he didn't fit the mold of a typical jet buyer. Still, he believed in treating everyone with respect and expected the same in return. When he arrived at the private airport that day, his heart was full of hope. He wasn't there to flaunt his wealth or prove a point. He was there to invest in his vision. Little did he know that his appearance would spark judgments that would test his patience and resolve. "Look, sir," the salesman said, his voice dripping with condescension. "Jets aren't exactly for everyone. Why don't we discuss options that might be more in your range?" Thomas frowned but kept his composure. "And what range would that be?" "Perhaps a pre-owned small aircraft, if that." The salesman gestured toward a much older model, sitting at the edge of the lot. Thomas sighed, his patience waning. "I'm interested in that jet," he repeated firmly, pointing again to the sleek model. The salesman hesitated, glancing at his colleagues, who were watching with amused smirks. "Fine," he said, "but don't blame me if this is out of your league." He reluctantly led Thomas toward the jet, his tone growing even more dismissive as he rattled off technical specifications. Thomas listened intently, asking thoughtful questions that revealed a deep understanding of aviation and logistics. But the salesman barely noticed, too busy focusing on his own assumptions. After the tour, Thomas asked, "What's the asking price?" The salesman smirked. "It's $25 million. Do you even have a bank willing to finance that?" Thomas reached into his pocket, pulling out a checkbook. "I'm prepared to pay in full," he said calmly. The salesman froze, his face flushing with embarrassment. Before he could respond, the dealership's manager approached, having overheard the exchange. "Is there a problem here?" the manager asked, eyeing the salesman with a hint of irritation. Thomas held up the flyer. "I'm here to buy this jet, but it seems your staff doubts I can afford it." The manager's eyes widened. "Mr. Reed," he said, recognizing the name, "I've heard of your business. Please, let's discuss this further in my office." Inside the manager's office, the atmosphere was entirely different. The manager offered Thomas a seat and an apology for his employee's behavior. "I'm truly sorry for the misunderstanding," the manager said. "We value every customer, and I assure you that you'll receive the respect you deserve from here on out." Thomas nodded, though his expression remained neutral. "Thank you. I'd like to proceed with the purchase, provided the terms are fair." The manager quickly arranged the paperwork, marveling at Thomas's calm demeanor and keen business acumen. Meanwhile, The salesman who had initially dismissed Thomas stood outside the office, watching through the glass with a sinking feeling. As Thomas finalized the deal, the manager asked, "If you don't mind me asking, what inspired you to choose this particular jet?" Thomas smiled faintly. "It's not just about convenience. This jet will allow me to connect directly with international clients, ensuring my farm's produce reaches more markets while maintaining quality. It's an investment in my community as much as my business." The manager was impressed. "That's admirable, Mr. Reed. Most buyers are looking for luxury, but you're focused on purpose." As the transaction concluded, Thomas stood to leave, but not before addressing the salesman. "You know," Thomas said, his tone even but firm, "judging someone by their appearance is a dangerous habit. You almost missed out on a significant sale because you assumed I didn't belong here. Maybe next time, give people the benefit of the doubt." The salesman stammered an apology, his cheeks burning with shame. Thomas nodded, accepting the gesture, but leaving him with a lesson he wouldn't soon forget. As Thomas walked out to the tarmac, the staff who had previously laughed at him now stood in respectful silence. The sleek jet he'd just purchased was being prepared for delivery, and the magnitude of the moment wasn't lost on anyone. One of the younger staff members approached him hesitantly. "Mr. Reed," she said, "I've read about your farm. It's incredible what you've accomplished. I hope to visit someday." Thomas's face softened. "You're welcome anytime," he replied with a warm smile. As he climbed into his old pickup truck, a sense of satisfaction washed over him. He hadn't come to prove anyone wrong, but he was glad to have reminded a few people of the value of humility and respect. Back inside the office, the salesman turned to the manager, visibly shaken. "I'm sorry," he said. "I let my assumptions get in the way. It won't happen again." "It better not," the manager replied. "Thomas Reed isn't just a customer. He's a reminder that success doesn't always wear a suit." Weeks later, Thomas's new jet became a symbol of progress and determination in his small town. The local newspaper ran a story about his purchase, highlighting his commitment to expanding his business and supporting the community. The dealership also learned a valuable lesson. The salesman who had judged Thomas by his appearance took it upon himself to treat every customer with equal respect, no matter how they looked. As for Thomas, he continued to work tirelessly, using his new jet to build partnerships that benefited not only his farm, but also his community. He hired more workers, invested in local schools, and even started a scholarship fund for aspiring young farmers. His story became a source of inspiration, proving that integrity and perseverance could overcome prejudice and skepticism. If this story inspired you, imagine the difference we can make by treating others with kindness and respect. Share this video to spread the message of humility and hard work. Don't forget to subscribe for more powerful and uplifting stories that remind us of the good in the world. Together, let's build a community where everyone is valued for who they truly are.